Hello everybody, welcome to Astrology and Magic. My name is Valkyria Verder. Welcome to this week. We're looking at January 14th through the 23rd. We're starting Aquarius season. We're coming off of the full moon in Cancer. There's about to be a lot of shifts come like next week sometime. It's like starting on the 28th, but the sun sign, the sun season of Aquarius is gonna offer to us a little bit different. How would I explain this? We're here now. We're here now. Something that we've been waiting for, we're here now. Something we've been transitioning for, we're here now. That happens this week. So we have a lot to get through this week. I'm going to do my best to make sure that everything is included for you. Before we get into the specifics of the week, if you are looking for updates on the podcast, go check out the blog. I send out every single time that there's an episode. Basically just this is what to look for, a notification in your inbox if you're signed up for the email notifications on the blog as well. And I also wanted to, with everything that's happening with TikTok right now and kind of the shift in the social media platform landscape, I also wanted to bring in just a little blurb about if you wanted to support the podcast more than just listening to it, there is an option on the blog to sign up as an exclusive subscriber. I believe it starts at $5 a month, and then there's other options for more, like paying per year, paying for becoming a founding member. So it just depends on like what you're comfortable with and what you would like to offer to me, but it does help me continue to do the work that I do. So thank you if you're already an exclusive sub over there. Exclusive subscribers to the blog receive new moon breakdowns every single cycle. So getting into more of the ritualistic side of things. And if there's anything, maybe ritual isn't the word of it. It's like I look deeper into the aspects of the astrological placements, and I look deeper into really what it is that the new moon is ushering in and what that cycle is going to be. Sometimes there's channeled messages that come through with that as well. And then once a month I send out it's been in the previous months, the new moon and the monthly lesson for the exclusive subs have been together. It'll probably stay that way for a while. I don't know if it'll change. Maybe it'll change in the future, but for now they're together. But I've been sending out a kind of, I call it adult spicy magic. It's the magic that costs a little bit more to practice. It's just a little bit more dangerous and a little bit more extreme. Do I want to use the word extreme? Is it extreme? It's the stuff that people don't really teach on the internet because there's a lot of community guidelines and a lot of safety net stuff on platforms, but the blog doesn't really have a lot of that, to be honest with you. So it doesn't have a lot of restrictions when it comes to censorship. So I have a little bit of leeway and a little bit of free room over there to offer some different perspectives and some different kind of directives. So that's another thing that the exclusive subs get every single month. So if that's something that you want to join in on, and I keep that content behind a paywall just because it's a reminder that everything costs something. And if you're going to be practicing that kind of magic, it's going to cost you. So just to give reverence to the kind of order and structure that more extreme, sometimes dangerous kinds of magic require, that's what it is. So that's an update for you. If there's any other important updates or any other offerings that you wanted to check out and look at, there's a whole entire list in the description of everything that is available. So I'll leave that down below as well. Let's get into this week's show. Thanks for listening to me talk about the intro. So good. So from the 14th to the 16th, we're going to have a moon in Leo, ruled by a sun in Capricorn. Spiritual, emotional, and clarity of the self, because right now we have Saturn in Pisces, which rules over Capricorn space, that Saturn energy. So we're having a lot of spiritual shape-shifting energy. Capricorn is the shape-shifting that is very detailed. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. Sometimes it's harder. It's harsher. And so That's true. That's true. Interesting. With that Capricorn energy, we're in the shape shifting of a spirit. We're also shape shifting so that we're able to make it through a transition. We're in a really, really big change of position. And really, come the end of January, the beginning of February, we're kind of, it's like our feet are going to touch down on the ground for a second and we're going to get lifted back up into kind of like a whirlwind or another transition. There's going to be another change in position. And it's gonna be over really the next couple years, depending on how, you know, the eclipses are treating you, and the North Node in Pisces is going to be looking for you. But just general, like a general note, the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot of like touchdown, pick back up, touchdown, pick back up. It's not a very large time of grounding. We are going to have some things ground. There are going to be some profound groundings and some serious groundings that come through in the future. Yeah, the cat's talking about it. I don't know if you heard that in the microphone, but yep, he's talking about it too. But we're not going to have a lot of like, how do I say this? There's a lot of change coming in. And when a lot of change comes in, we need things to pick up. We need things to shift around and to move. Also, Aquarius, Pluto being in Aquarius, is a lot of air energy. It's a lot of air shifting and air gifting. Plus the North Node in Pisces, Aquarius is the air that carries the clouds being Piscean energy. So we have this kind of like continuous ushering in of storms and rain and clouds, and it's a lot of rain cycle energy. And it's the water that lands on the ground, it's not going to be there for very long. It's going to get picked up probably again pretty soon after it does land, metaphorically speaking. So lots of change, lots of cycling a lot of things in and out. So what this moon is really allowing us to do, because we are still in the moon cycle ruled by the new moon in Capricorn, we're also still in Capricorn season, and the moon is in Leo, so it's going to be ruled by the Capricorn energy. Lots of illumination on what needs to be done for the self, in the self, by the self, around the self, so that your transitions are able to ground, that you are able to ground through the transitions. It could be highlights on spiritual practices, could be highlights too around just spiritual information that is only for you. Leo also has to do with joy, so it could be in the joyfulness energy. If you're seeing things that maybe are not bringing you joy, get rid of it. It's time to get it out. It's time to no more trying to figure it out. If it's still around, it's been around for a while, and you're like, how do I shift this to make this more? No, it's been here for a while. It hasn't done you any justice. Get rid of it. Get it gone. Get it gone. That's going to be probably a part of the clarity of this moon too, because we're going to be kind of, one of the things I said in the previous episode at the very end, when I was crying about the moon in Cancer, oh my goodness, so many beautiful tears, sacred tears really is what those were. That energy, one of the things that I said in that episode is that we're gonna have this kind of like reverent moment. It's like a moment to revere the death that has happened, and then we're gonna pick up again. We're gonna get up again. This moon in Leo is really like us raising our heads and starting to pick up again. And so within that, we're doing so in a really spiritual, really refined way to help us make the transitions that are going to be coming through in the future. And that could be for you on a personal level. It could be transitions in a couple of weeks. It could be transitions like at the end of the moon cycle. It could be transitions that you're looking at making over the next several years or the next year or so. So it really just depends on kind of like how you work with time and timeline stuff and what that looks like for you. But this moon is the moon where we're picking our head up again, we're getting up. And the vision that I saw in the previous episode, it wasn't necessarily us like picking our heads up and then sitting and thinking about anything and then standing up and getting up. It was like simultaneously we're picking our heads up while we're standing up at the same time, standing up to get the work done, standing up to march on, standing up to create again, standing up to go and be in the world and not be in the place where death would need us to be. We're going back into life. So just some perspective on kind of a transition from the previous episode and what to expect with those energies going together. Beautiful. One of the things I wrote down in the notes is listen, receive, apply, and take note. There may be some information kind of from this full moon to the end of this moon cycle, next moon cycle too. But kind of starting around like the end of this full moon, we're going to start receiving a lot of information around what are we looking at for those eclipses? what's really gonna happen? What turn are we really making with our life? What are we really asking for? What does spirit really need us to do? What are the guides in your practice asking of you? What do you need help with? What are the transitions gonna look like? So many questions, and we're gonna start to get some answers a little bit. It's like answers or more specified questions, and it's like a change in the ride for the next month and a half or moon cycle and a half till we arrive at that new moon in Pisces, that's on the 28th of February. So a date or a time marker for you, just for reference of the future stuff going on before we get to that new moon in Pisces. And the reason I say the new moon in Pisces, we're going to have the North Node in Pisces. That new moon in Pisces is not on the 28th of February. It's not an eclipse. However, the full moon of that moon cycle will be an eclipse. It's in Virgo, that full moon in Virgo. That's going to be on the 14th of March. And then we have the new moon solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th. Yeah, the 29th of March. So that new moon in Pisces, it may not be an eclipse, but it's gonna rule over the moon cycle where we're gonna have an eclipse. Plus the North Node is in Pisces. So it'll be very, how do I explain that? It'll carry a lot of weight, even if it's not the thing that is eclipsing us, even if it is not the eclipsing energy. Because then once we get to the next eclipse season, about 6 months from then, there will be a full moon in Pisces that will be an eclipse. And that is also ruled by that new moon that happened in Pisces on the February 28th date for like a long-term cycle kind of turn. So just really, over the next month and a half, really pay attention to the transitions that you're making and get kind of set in your direction, long-term direction. Get kind of set in your direction. Again, with the pick up, put down sort of energy, like we're not going to have a lot of time for our feet to be on the ground in the next kind of couple of years. It's like we're kind of up floating around, transitioning. And then every once in a while, we get our feet put back on the ground again. Lots of floaters, lots of floaty energy. Not a bad thing, but just, sometimes people like to be a little bit more grounded, myself included, to be honest with you. I like the chaos sometimes. I like the up in the air a little bit. I do. Sometimes it's really necessary. Sometimes we got to get a little funky with it. Sometimes the air needs to come pick us up, be the wind under the wings. Pick it up. Let's go. We have places to be, And also, sometimes I want to be with the earth. I want to be on the ground. I want to be breathing with the grass, and that's what I need. But the next couple of years, we're not going to have a whole bunch of time to be doing all the grounding work. It's going to be a lot of transition and weaving and possibly some leaving and grieving, but because that's what happens in transition. You leave things to get to new things. So there's a part of it that could be that too. But starting with this moon, coming back to kind of a short-term thing, starting with this moon, this is going to be a lot of where the clarity of what the next month and a half and getting our direction set pre-eclipses, that's where it kind of starts. So just have, open heart how you need to and receive the information how you need to. For people who work in spiritual practices and have spiritual practices where like you have disciplines and there's certain things that you do to make sure that everything is coming through how you need to, this moon is going to probably offer a lot of clarity around just around the self, just around you. Normally, at least in my experience in spiritual practices, I'm making sure the spirits are good. I'm making sure the offerings are good. I'm going to nature. I'm answering the callings of spirit if and when I need to, which necessary for me, that's true. So discern for yourself how that works, But this one, it's going to bring us back, this moon is going to bring us kind of back to center of self. Okay, well, what is it that I need in my practice? What is it that I really need to look at? Is there anything in my practice that I need to shift so that I'm more taken care of? It's going to be a bigger perspective on who we are as practitioners on an individual level and how we can kind of amplify the good stuff in the coming months, since there is going to be so much change that's going on. So hopefully it's an uplifting moon, honestly, especially, literally like the lifting up after the full moon in Cancer, but also of the heart. Leo rules are like spark of heart. It's the joy that we receive in the heart. Leo also is about parent and child relationships, so there could be some familial things that are coming through. Discern for you how that could be. It depends on how your ancestry is really included in your practice, but there could be some of that information coming through as well. Beautiful. Then we have the 16th to the 18th, the moon is in Virgo. Now, this moon in Virgo, I'm really grateful for this moon in Virgo. After this moon in Virgo, things get a little funky, things get a little weird. Okay, so let's enjoy this moon in Virgo while it's here. Our first sneak peek into the next lunar node energy. Our south node's moving into Virgo on the 28th of January. So a lot about our earthly skills of earth communication, grounding in the earth, our physical bodies, working out, the food that we're eating, how does nature communicate with us, how does indirect body language communicate with us. A lot of unspoken communication, and there's a lot of different ways that that kind of manifests or becomes real in the world. So this moon in Virgo, since we're coming off of the full moon and we have the full moon eclipse 2 moon cycles from now in Virgo, this is going to offer us a little bit more clarity. You know, what's going on? Our Mercury is going to be in Capricorn. So we have a lot of that background Capricorn spiritual transitionary influence with Saturn in Pisces. The moon in Leo ruled by the sun in Capricorn, and then the moon in Virgo is going to be ruled by a Mercury in Capricorn. So a lot of spiritual information could be coming through. One of the things to really pay attention to in this time period, the 16th to the 18th, pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. If you're someone who receives dream work, dream magic, dream prophecy, dream messages, pay attention to your dreams. Dreams at this time are probably going to give you some form of prophecy, divination, or kind of like a future expectation. If you're someone who receives those kinds of dreams, this moon really, really supports that sort of information coming through. So just for me, sometimes I have to ask for those dreams and be like, okay, I really need help with this, or I need help understanding it. Sometimes they're gifted to me just because it's time for me to see. So however that might work for you, I know for me, it goes both directions. So, you know, again, discern for yourself. That's what I have for that moon. Is there anything else about this? This is also to just pay attention to, we're not in the lunar nodes, south node in Virgo yet. This is kind of why it's the first sneak peek. Just pay attention. Virgo energy, 6th house energy, Mercury energy, could be 3rd house. That's more Gemini too, but it is still applicable, still communication, you know. Anything Virgo for you. Virgo, 6th house, Mercury in your chart. Anything that you're doing in your life that includes that energy through the 16th to the 18th, just make a note for yourself. Could be mental, however, you don't need to write down if you don't feel like, but just pay attention. What's really thematically going on? What really is happening? How do you feel about it? Because probably that's going to be an indication, a small, tiny little indication, or like a revelation of like, oh, so this is what the next year and a half could be like, or this is what the next, you know, eclipse cycle, this is the energy I really need to be focused on, or this is what I'm really working with. And then next month, Virgo moon, we have probably a gift coming through or a crossing. There's going to be something a little bit more important or prevalent because the south node is going to be in Virgo at that time. This one could bring, the 16th through the 18th moon in Virgo could bring an answer to a mystery, maybe something where you're like, I don't know what the future is going to be like, or I don't know what this is really going to look like. I'm not really sure about what this could be. Answer to a mystery. I like that. You know what? I didn't write that down in the notes, but that's really true. Answer to a mystery, answer to a mystery. So if you've been wondering, mysterious, you know, what's going to happen, you might not get a clear, direct answer. Virgo doesn't always speak super directly. Sometimes it does. It's not all the time though. Sometimes it does. So just pay attention to, you know, what's indirect, what needs some further inspection. Mystery is answered. Answer to a mystery. Call me the mystery machine. Okay, let's go solve some stuff. Take the mask off. That's true. So I'm really looking forward to that moon. I'm like really looking forward to that moon because I know for myself that weekend on the 18th, I have stuff planned that has to do with the south node in Virgo. So I've already got it kind of clocked out. I'm locked in. I'm looking forward to the answer to the mystery because I have been wondering in this energy, you know, what's going to happen, what's really going to be for me. So there's going to be some answers to the mystery and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. So just, you know, look at that for yourself, see how things could be. And then this is where things start to get a little bit weird this week. This is where things start to get a little bit, I don't know, yeah, sure, you could call it weird. I suppose that's true. Thank you, fate, for being around. For whatever reason, it's time. For whatever reason, it's time. I don't know what it's time for, but for whatever reason, it's time. Interesting. So let me just kind of read off some of the stuff that's happening from the 19th to the 20th, because we have several different things where it's like, okay, wait, hold on. Is there any other crossovers? By goodness golly. So the 19th through the 20th, we have a 3rd quarter moon in Libra. South Node is going to be 0 degrees in Libra. Again, we're right before the crossover of the South Node moving into Virgo. So we're like wrapping it up. We're finishing it off. We're really like, we're almost done. We're just getting ready. This is like everything's packed and we're good to go. We just got to like open the door and walk into the new thing when it transitions. We're in that transitionary energy right now. That's kind of what the 0 degree kind of does. So we also have the dark moon in Libra at 22 degrees. So we have these two placements. South Node makes it really easy. And it's like earthly skills. We've been working on justice, balance, mirrors, relationships, intimacy, feminine archetype stuff. Yep. And then on the 19th, we have a Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces. Mind you, 14th through the 16th, Moon in Leo, ruled by Capricorn, so ruled by Saturn. 16th through the 18th, Moon in Virgo, ruled by Mercury in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn in Pisces. So this whole entire week, we're leading up to a Saturn in Pisces. Well, not the whole entire week, but up until the 19th. We're leading up into a Venus conjunct Saturn. So Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces, who, when, why? Are you, yeah, this is real. Okay, interesting. It's like, how do I explain this? Speculations that you've had, maybe some messages that have come through, dreams that have been given to you, workings that you've done, anything that's really been like prophetically spun. Hasn't yet seen the sun though. Still has been done in darkness. Maybe you haven't really told too many people about it. Maybe you're looking at the messages coming through and being like, I think I understand exactly what this is. I think I understand, but there hasn't been like a confirmation, or it hasn't been made real, or it hasn't been made manifest, or it hasn't been there yet. Venus conjunct Saturn is like, okay, well, here you are. Here's your receiving. Here you are. Here's your receiving. I know for me, even since Venus has been in Pisces, I've had a lot of spiritual receiving. It's like, okay, well, you've done the work to receive this now, so here you go. You've done the work to receive this now, so here you go. Here's this other spiritual confirmation. Here's this other spiritual confirmation. Here's this other spiritual confirmation. That's been happening for me since Venus moved into Pisces. Very, very diligent, very consistent, very persistent. Thank you, Spirit, also. Thank you, Spirit, also, because that has been coming through on a very, for myself at least, a very, very consistent basis. A little different, but necessary and needed. So Saturn offers us a position of power if we've really been doing the work in it. So Venus conjunct to Saturn in Pisces, what spiritual position have you really earned for yourself? Since Venus has been in Pisces, let's look at the date. Venus entered Pisces on January 3rd. So since Venus entered Pisces, is there anything spiritual you've been receiving where you're like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, actually, I'll receive that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll make that my responsibility. That's already my responsibility. I'm already doing that. Let me sit with it. Anything spiritual that you've been receiving, receiving. Well, Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces, we're leaving. Here you are. Here's the new thing. Here you are. This is yours now. Here you are. It's confirmed. Here you are. Now it's real. Here you are. Let yourself feel. Yes. So that's happening at the same time that we have a third quarter moon in Libra with the South Node in Libra. We're moving out of these eclipses and the South Node. So we're already wrapping up a cycle with the South Node, right? And Venus rules Libra. So Venus conjunct Saturn, the feminine archetype of receiving and giving, conjunct Saturn, order, time, in Pisces is a lot about prophecy, philosophies, okay, divination, messages, spiritual structures, and practices. Those coming together to rule over it's the final moon that we have in Libra before the nodes switch over. This is like a really big ending. This is like a big ending of like, oh, hey, also, by the way, did you know that you graduated valedictorian? Nobody's told you yet? Oh, okay, well, here, I'll let you know then. Here's the paperwork and here's the thing. You're a valedictorian now. You didn't know that? Okay, well, let the spirits come through and let you know exactly what you need to do. If that's true for you. If you feel like Spirit was just telling this to me before I got on to film this. Accolades. I was driving in the parking lot. I was running my errands for the weekend, getting everything done that I need to do. I think it was in one of the recent podcast episodes, I said, maybe it was a reading, I don't know, somewhere on the internet recently, Spirit's had me talk about the people are going to have a reason to be recognized. Like if you've really been doing the work recently, it's like people are going to have a reason to recognize you. I don't remember when this was. I think it might have been in a reading. People are going to have a reason to recognize you. So this Venus conjunct Saturn and Pisces happening on the 19th, plus that third quarter moon in Libra, this is a time where it's like, okay, well, yeah, spiritual confirmation of like, yeah, you are graduating valedictorian, or like, yeah, here's the accolades, here's the honors that you have earned. Here it is, this is for you. Here it is, this is for you. Congratulations are about to come through for a lot of people. And if not, if they don't, because sometimes Saturn is a little bit harsher, right? So if not, and they don't, then it's probably going to be okay, because it's Pisces, a lot of transition energy. What still needs to be transitioned so that you can make it to where you want to be? Are there any lessons you need to sit with and learn because maybe you haven't yet? And that's totally okay. There's no shame in that. There's no hate in that. And there's no shade in it. There doesn't need to be, at least. Maybe there is, but that's not up to me. That's for you, you know? So even if there's no accolades, for people who have really been in it and on it, and yeah, accolades, honors, confirmations, awards, possibly. Just depends. My heart got real full thinking about that. Just depends. No matter what comes through though, okay, so whether it be good, positive, negative, some lessons, maybe some, things you got to sit with and think about, probably whether it's positive or negative, there's going to be some things to sit around, think about, sit and understand. No matter what happens in that regard, this is going to be a day of prophecy, order, structure. Really tune yourself in, pay attention, because this is about what has been, what is right now, and what could be. What has been, what is right now, and what could be. I'm going to say it again. What has been, what is right now, and what could be. Prophecy, okay? One of the things I wrote down in the notes for this conjunction with that moon that's happening in Libra at the same time, we haven't even gotten to the sun moving into Aquarius yet, my goodness. One of the things I wrote down is listen to your spirits. I put it in all capital letters, and then I wrote listen 5 times. Listen. Listen, this is time to listen. These couple days, this is time to listen. Sit and listen. Maybe you are up walking, working in the world. Listen, this is time to listen. Listen to your spirits, listen to your heart, listen to your practice, listen to the work that you've done, ring true and ring through. Listen, this is a time to listen. Listen. They're gonna have a lot to say. Listen. And the birds were flying real low today. Interesting. And they sat me back down again, and they asked me to sit in my receiving energy again. And whenever I've been sitting in my receiving energy recently, it's because something's about to end. It's like something's coming to a close. Something's about to end. So I got to sit and I got to listen. I got to understand. I got to receive. And then it'll close and I'll leave and there'll be more activity. And then I got to sit and listen, receive some more. So today the birds are flying really low, and their spirit was letting me know, like, just sit and receive. It's time to sit and receive. So I feel that energy from this as well. It's like sit and listen. Also discern for yourself. If you gotta be up doing work, that's for you. If you gotta be doing that, make that decision for yourself. Don't just sit and listen because that's the thing that I need to do. You know what I mean? That's what's being asked of me at this time. That's true. And also it might not fit for you. So just discern for yourself. Beautiful. Like I said, we didn't even get to the fact that the sun moves into Aquarius on the same day. And guess what Aquarius is also ruled by? Saturn. So we have this is what I mean. This is where it gets a little weird because it's just a little overwhelming. There's a lot of things ruled by Venus that are happening, but with the Libra moon, and then we have the Venus in the conjunct Saturn and Pisces, and then also at the same time we have the sun moving into Aquarius, which is partially ruled by Saturn, which is going to be conjunct with Venus. What are you really practicing? You might find out, actually. You might realize about your practice, like, oh, I've really been doing this thing. I didn't even realize I was doing this thing. I've really been actually doing this thing. It's like the arcane mysteries of whatever it is that you're doing. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't mean to be doing that, but here I am. And that's what I'm doing. Curious. Something that like an old ancient book would tell you, but the spirits tell you instead. That's my favorite kind of wisdom. Oh, so good. So good. Thank you for the spirit to offer those sorts of wisdoms to me. That's my favorite sorts of wisdom. That's true. And most of the time. Sometimes I need like more, how do I say? No, that's like my favorite kind of wisdom. I don't even want to backtrack on that. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. And I want to talk about too, before we get into, because on the 20th, the sun will be conjunct with Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. And I've got some times for these written down, so I'll pronounce those just really quick too. But I want to talk about last year's Aquarius season as well. So this year though, 19th is when the sun moves into Aquarius, and it's going to move into Aquarius at 8:06 p.m. UTC time, so 20:06 UTC. And then when the sun is conjunct Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree, that will be, sun moves into 1 degree, so it's not like completely exact, but they'll be at 1 degree together. And that will be at 19:36 UTC on the 20th of January, or 7:36 p.m. UTC. On the 20th, that's again Pluto and the sun being conjunct in Aquarius. So just those two. If you need it written down, it is in the notes down below or in the blog. So either way, either wherever you're looking at the notes, the specifics for that one are going to be down below. Yes. The reason that I want to talk about the previous year's Aquarius season is because we had a really, really interesting, I might have talked about this honestly a couple episodes ago, or possibly in the special episode that I put out for Astrology for 2025. It was somewhere recently. I don't remember exactly where. When we went into Aquarius season last year, so 2024, the sun and Pluto moved from Capricorn into Aquarius at basically the exact same time. It was like less than 24. It might have been less than 12 hours, honestly, but it was definitely less than 24 hours together. I think Pluto moved into Aquarius first. I think it was Pluto and then it was the sun. So we had this very interesting illumination on, Pluto's transition. Pluto's moving from Capricorn, where it's been for 16 years, into Aquarius. And now, 2024, Pluto went back into Capricorn during the retrograde, but we're not doing that this year. We're in Aquarius until we move into Pisces with Pluto. In 2042 is when that starts to happen, which that's a while in the future, is almost 20 years. So the fact that we had this big illumination at the beginning of the previous year's Aquarius season, to me, is really interesting. Saturn was in Pisces then as well. And the other transit that we had that's connected to that is Uranus. Uranus was retrograde at the time. So the illumination that we received when that first day of Aquarius season happened last year, it was everything that we'd done already. What have you already done in Aquarius energy? Who have you already become? Like, you've already paid for something within the Aquarian world, within the Aquarian aspects. There was a lot of, for me, like artistry stuff coming up. That Aquarius is very artistic. It's a lot of creativity. It's a lot of creation energy, unexpected creation energy. It's like you sit down at a canvas to paint something and what you come out with is not at all what you thought you were going to get. So that's where kind of like the chaos sort of energy can come through. There's a lot of different ways that the chaos can come through with that. I suppose that's true, but just one example within the creative process is like you end up somewhere unexpected, or it's just an unexpected sort of creative. The creative process is a little bit blinding in that sense, is like you can't always, how do I say this? You can't always know. You just don't always know, and that's totally all right. I'm cool with that. It is what it is. It needs to be. I need to be blinded sometimes, because if I could control everything, that would be the power of God. And guess what? I don't need that. I don't want it. Thanks. Leave it for whoever, but it's not for me. Leave it for whoever, but it's not for me. That's a lot of responsibility. And I'm one tiny little human being. Keep me a human. I like being a human. I like being a human. I regard that as free. Thank you. So that was last year's Aquarius season. Okay, that was the start of last year's Aquarius season. This year, Aquarius season, we also have a Uranus retrograde. Interesting. We also have a Uranus retrograde. So we're still kind of looking back, but the way that Saturn is transitioning right now, it's not going to retrograde until it enters into Aries, until it enters the new beginning. So Saturn is kind of like you can look backwards. It's necessary right now, but at the same time, you have to be doing the work to move forwards. You have to be kind of forward focused or forward centered. And because of the Uranus retrograde, we're also kind of blinded to the future. We're not always going to be able to see the unexpected stuff. We can't predict everything. That was a message that Spirit was bringing to me around the time of the election, because there's a lot of people who are doing like tarot predictions or astrological We're not supposed to be able to predict everything. You want to control who gets elected. You want to control who gets the promotions at your work and at your job. You want to control. You listen to what I just said? I don't want that power. I don't want that power. Sometimes we don't need to know. Keep me blind. Keep my eyes closed. Keep my senses turned off. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Because if you knew, what would be expected of you? That is a deeper form of responsibility than anything I have ever offered for and anything that I probably will ever receive. I don't want to know that kind of stuff. I don't want to know. We're not supposed to be able to predict everything. And it's sometimes we predict so that there's like for pain infliction or to redirect some kind of pain, or because we're afraid, or because we're asking how to like create the order in our life. And that final one is the one I want to focus on. Sometimes we ask to predict things so that we can go and create and do the creation work in an informed way. However, sometimes in the creation work, that's where the predictions are bound up. Sometimes we can't predict it because it still has to be an interactive process between you and the spirits around you, or you and the people around you, or you and the world, you and society. Sometimes we don't get to predict it because you have to will it. You have to do it. Sometimes we can't predict it because you have to go through it. So we can't always predict stuff. We can't always predict it. And I'm really grateful that we can't always predict it. If we could predict everything, what would be the point of living? If I knew everything, why would I come here? If I already knew everything, why would I be here? Granted, I have accumulated lots of wisdom since I've been here. Beautiful. Love that for my human brain and my human experience, but I don't want to predict everything. Life would be boring if you could predict everything. Oh, I know that if I go on this drive and then this thing is going to happen and this and this and this and this, boring. I don't want to do that. I want the adventure. I want the unexpected. I kind of honestly thrive a little bit in it. Oh, you have an unexpected? You have an unexpected? You have an unexpected? Well, guess what? I do too. You have an unexpected? Well, guess what? I've gone through. I have an unexpected for you. Beautiful. That's where the creation between people can happen. You got something unexpected? Beautiful. Me as well. Let me bring the unexpected. Let me bring the unexpected. Sometimes you show up and you're the unexpected thing. Clock it. Lock it. Put it in the pocket, okay? And walk it. Walk it. Sometimes you're the unexpected thing. Sometimes you show up because Spirit called you. Let's talk about that for a second. Sometimes you show up because Spirit called you to show up. Think about that. Your heart called you to show up. People receive callings from Spirit very differently. It just depends on who you are. I call on Spirit callings. Sometimes it's vision, sometimes it's feelings, sometimes very directly the spirits are like, you gotta go to this place. It just depends on the type of calling or the kind of situation. Also depends on the mood I'm in, because sometimes spirits tell me directly, you got to go to this place, and I would tell them to F off because I don't want to talk to them like that right now. So, they know me well enough at this point to let me know what kind of calling I need at the exact right place at the exact right time. That's just what it is. But everybody receives those spirit callings differently. So what happens if you're in a room full of people who they may not necessarily function on spirit callings? It's not a bad thing. Not everybody's called to be in a more spiritual kind of practice. Not everybody's called to be in a more spiritual kind of life. And that it takes everybody on the earth. You know what? So, let him be. Let him be. So what happens if you would apply this to yourself, if this does apply to yourself, but if not, then leave it be. That's true. Discern for yourself how that would work if it does. If you show up in a room full of people and you have spirit callings put on you, you showed up there because Spirit told you to. You showed up there because Spirit said, hey, I need you to be here. And now you're there. Sometimes you're the unexpected thing. Sometimes you are the reason that things are not able to be predicted. Sometimes you are the reason that things cannot be scripted. What kind of power is that? Talk about Pluto and Aquarius. What kind of power is that? So there might be some revealing around those themes, thematics, or just like maybe anything that came up within I don't know, your thought process as I was saying that too. I don't know, anything that was maybe a little bit inspiring through that. There's going to be some clarity on that once we get into the 19th and the 20th. The 19th and the 20th are going to be pretty big, impactful days. Lots going on. Lots going on. Because let me run it back just a second to brush up on everything. We first have that third quarter moon in Libra, all right? Final moon in Libra. We're moving on. We're closing a chapter. We're going to have the how do I say? The information of finalization come through. That's true. Venus conjunct Saturn, lots of prophecy, lots of divination. Listen. Listen. Saturn's going to ask us to be consistent, so work is probably still going to need to be done. And also listen. We have Sun moving into Aquarius, okay, illumination, that's on the 19th. The 20th, Sun's going to be conjunct with Pluto in Aquarius, even more illumination, and that would be the illumination on the power, kind of what I was just talking about before I did the brush up. What your power of Pluto in Aquarius. What are you really focused on? What you really got going on? Who wants to know? You? Cool. Well, listen on the 20th. You'll probably find out. That's real interesting. I'm very much looking forward to that day. It's gonna have a lot to say. I'm gonna read I wrote down a lot of notes for this kind of time period, so I'm gonna go through and just read some of the things that I wrote down, help myself remember when I was making notes for this episode, and also bring through, because there's like 3 or 4 paragraphs. Okay, so this is the kind of the beginning of the new era. It's the beginning of the new era. Get ready. What did I say? Get ready, because things are about to fall apart. Things are about to fall apart. That's the chaos, the chaotic part. Things are about to fall apart, and then things are going to get remolded together. We can't have creation without destruction. So before we get into like the intense creative energy, sometimes we need to have things kind of, like I said earlier in the episode, get lifted up, and then the feet will hit the ground again. Get lifted up, the feet will hit the ground again. So when things start to fall apart, take it as however you would take it as a sign. If you take it as a sign of like, maybe I don't need to be doing that anymore, or it falls apart, it's like, maybe I need to bind it up tighter. You don't want it to leave, bind it up tighter for yourself. Because when things start to kind of like, oh, that's gonna go, well, the spirit's looking at you, the spirits in your practice, your guides, your team, however you pronounce them, looking at you being like, well, what are they gonna do? We're gonna throw them into this chaos, we're gonna give this chaos to them, how are they gonna create through it? And then they're gonna be able to respond to that for you also. Beautiful. One of the other things I wrote down is, remember that your waste is also money. Trash is a resource. Even when I throw out my trash, I make sure to say, thank you, trash. I give reverence to the trash. Give reverence to what is being thrown out, Give reverence to it. I'm not really sure why that's important, but just, give reverence to what is a resource that is being disposed of. There's going to be a bunch of new coming through, which is why the destruction is required. So like construction requires that we go through destruction. Also too, this has been coming up in my mind in like the subliminal energy recently, and I haven't really spoken it out loud until now. It was a post I saw on Instagram, probably at this point like 3 years ago. It was a while ago, it was not recent, but it's been coming up in my mind recently. And it was a post talking about how agriculture and farming is one of the most violent things. We work with the earth, we work with the land, and we rip up the plants, and we tear up the grass, and we move around all of this life, and some of it has to go to death, just so that we can have the order of a garden, or the order of a structure within there that we might need. So it's very interesting to me. But that for whatever reason, feels necessary to mention here. So that just a little blurb, if you wanted to sit with that. It's been coming up in my mind recently, so I will leave that with you. Yes. Also, we have Saturn direct in Pisces, bringing new order, structure, and helping us transition in a very detailed way. More spiritual activity this Aquarius season also because of this. Saturn in Pisces is spiritual order, spiritual discipline, spiritual details in the veils. And Saturn is going to be in Pisces for the beginning of Pluto in Aquarius. When things are fresh, when things are new, spiritual activity heightened for you during this season. However it is that you work with that during Aquarius season, just understand there's going to be a lot of spiritual activity. The upcoming Aquarius seasons, when Pluto's in Aquarius, we may not experience quite as much intense spiritual communionship or intense spiritual messaging or interaction. But because of this placement right now, there's going to be a lot of receiving and giving and reception and understanding and details between us and those spiritual realms and places. So just, however you might need to sit with that. Interesting. Uranus retrograde, though, we're still looking back on what we've done and figuring out within our creative energy what needs to be done as we move into the new space. So it's like realizing maybe tools of old that don't work for us anymore. realizing what that's going to be more of the destruction part. Is like things that have already been done, I don't want to do that anymore. Let me get rid of it, and then you might not be able to see what's coming, but again, we can't predict everything. So go make a decision, go create something new, go have an interest, go have a hobby, go start something that is different. That's going to be the destruction for the creation energy, that Uranus retrograde. Yes. One of the things I wrote down is to stay up on your practices and keep the spirits fed. And then I literally wrote in the notes, I was like, explain what keeping the spirits fed even means. And this is one of the questions I get on my channels sometimes. Every once in a while, I feel like people are like, what do you mean by that? Or like, how do I make an offering? Or what does that mean? So look at, because everybody feeds the spirits differently. Some people go to altars to feed the spirits. Some people, you know, just talk to the spirits. There's so many different ways to keep the spirits fed. Really, what I mean by that is in your practice, look at how you're already related to the spiritual realms. We can't receive from them if we don't offer to them. It's a reciprocity. It's receiving. So if you are receiving all of the spiritual wisdom, spiritual information, you don't say thank you, you don't give reverence to it, well then the spirits aren't going to give reverence to you either. That does not sound like a very smart way to walk through the world. I would love to walk through the world in a revered way by the spirits. If I can walk through the world by in a revered way by the spirits, that means that even the spirits who don't, it's like having a reputation for yourself. It's like having a reputation for yourself. If the spirits, you know, the spirits that I work with and offer to, if they have a good relationship with me, a healthy relationship with me, then even spirits who don't know me are going to have, you know, something to go off of, because the spirits, they're all up in the veils. They're all in the spirit realms, you know, so they can communicate with each other. There's a little bit of a reputation set because of that. So keep the spirits fed. However it is you make offerings, if there's information coming through, even if you don't make offerings, just say thank you, you know, take the time to give reverence to it. Sometimes even for me, putting my hand on the ground and saying thank you, land, like that's a part of my practice occasionally as well. So, you know, just give reverence how you need to. That's really what it is. Keep your spirit fed. How do you keep your spirit fed? What kind of food are you eating? What kind of spirit are you in? Just make sure that you're taken care of. Make sure that the spirits around you are taken care of. Make sure that you're really good. Make sure that you're really good, you know, keep the spirits fed, because if you keep the spirits fed, they're going to keep you fed. It's a reciprocity. Reciprocity. Yes, that's true. One of the other things I noted, honestly, I don't remember if I made these notes before the fires in California. One of the things I wrote down for this is that more natural disasters and or natural occurrences that are going to be happening in Aquarius season. One of the things about Uranus is that it does create primordial chaos. That's nature. Nature coming through to let us, the spirits of nature coming through to be like, hey kids, you think it's a smart idea to build all this stuff? You think it's a smart idea to use your energy to do this? Do you think this is a good idea? Revere the spirits of nature. This is what I was talking about, having kind of like a reputation that precedes you and making sure that you keep the spirits fed is probably a good idea, because primordial spirits, those are the oldest spirits we have here. The primordial, before our world existed. Old, ancient. Love them. Love them. Keeping your spirits fed is really, really pertinent. Doesn't need to be a burden, but it is work. It is work. Keep your spirits fed. Keep your spirits fed, because you don't know what's coming in the future. You don't know what could be around you in the future, but you keep your spirits fed, they might be able to help you in a situation that you don't know about yet. Keep your spirits fed, they might be able to redirect you out of a situation that is causing extra chaos where there could be harm. Keep your spirits fed. We're about to enter into an era of chaos where there's possible more natural disasters. The earth is in a mode of correction time for a redirection. Keep your spirits fed. 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 Make your offerings. I've got a video up on my YouTube about making offerings. If you're interested or curious about that, just for more information, there's another resource I have up on my YouTube. Keep your spirits fed. Keep your spirits fed. Because if you can keep them fed, they're going to keep you fed. One of the things, I'm not going to tell the whole story. This might be the final. I've been telling this story all the time recently. This might be the final time that I tell this story, to be honest with you. For a while, I don't know. I might not tell the whole story, but let me just get into it. So there was this one time I was called to make an offering. I was headed out somewhere. I was headed out to do some training. I was headed out to do something that was important for me in my path. Keeping myself protected. Training, getting my body up, doing what I needed to do with my art form, with my work. And I was called to make an offering before I left. And I was running late to get to the gym. I was running late for class. And I knew that I had to leave like right then and there. But I was called to make an offering. Well, guess who didn't make the offering? Me at that time. I didn't. I was like, I'll do it when I get back. Didn't feel like a big deal. So I was like, let me just do it when I get back from the gym. Easy. All right, easy. I'll just do it when I get back. I won't worry about it. I go into the gym. I go through class. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing real good, actually. There's a lot that I accomplished that night. More, how do I explain this? More than I had in the months prior. I've been training for a while. And there was one of my classmates who, when I started training there, it's like, I know that I'm going to get him. I don't know when, because I train martial arts. So I was like, I know I'm going to get him. I know I'm going to win in one of our rounds together. I don't know when, because he was bigger than me. He was more experienced than me. But I could feel it. I was like, I know I'm going to get him eventually. So I get to the end, and he's my final roll of the night. He's my final round of the night. And I have him. And then he slams my head onto the mat, and my nose starts bleeding. Immediately, I pop up. I don't finish the round because I'm like, I'm not going to let my blood. Hello. You know the magic can't work. You know who I am. You know the magic I work. I'm not going to let my blood get all over the mat at a gym. Nah, for me. No, thank you. Not if it's not necessary. So I popped up to get it cleaned up. Okay. My coaches were helping me get it cleaned up. I was sitting over on the side, getting my nose cleaned up. And the minute I went to leave, I was like, I didn't make the offering. So something got taken from me. What a valuable lesson. Let me pay more attention. I haven't missed an offering since then. Haven't missed one because you telling me that that's going to pay the price? Okay, well, then let me just make sure I can make my offerings then. Let me make sure I can make my offerings. So I tell you that story in all seriousness of make sure that your offerings are made if you get called to them with the sort of era or energy that we're walking into, because with Pluto and Aquarius, more power is offered to the nature spirits. We can't control those spirits. They're going to bring the winds through. They're going to bring nature through. They're going to bring storms. They're going to bring natural, possible creation and disaster. Interesting. Nature is creating for the next 18 years while Pluto is in Aquarius. Nature creating also means nature destruction. So keep your spirits fed. Keep your spirits fed. That is what I'll say about that. Let's put it to bed. All right. What's up next? The final note that I put down for this, that the moon is still going to be in Libra, ruled by a Venus and Saturn conjunction at the start of Aquarius season. I put in all capital letters, Spirit, what are you really doing? We might actually start to see glimpses of, I've been asking that question a lot recently. Spirit, what are you doing? What you really got cooking up? What's really looking up? What's really going on? I'm walking blind in a lot of stuff right now, and I just know I need to be walking. So I'm gonna walk. Thank you. Let my feet move. Thank you for the feet that I have. Thank you for allowing me to walk my path. Thank you. That's true. And also, we're going to start to get some inclination, some answers, some understanding. So, Spirit, what are you really doing? We might actually start to know a little bit soon. The final moon for this time period, the 21st through the 23rd, we got a moon in Scorpio, also ruled by that Pluto. That's in Aquarius, so it's a carryover of the energy again. Our feelings are going to be a little bit more informative on this moon. This is also a moon where you could be feeling like the deep, dark secrets. Deep, dark secrets. The 19th and the 20th are going to be really, like, loud. Whoa, loud. Loud, lots of noise. Maybe not physically, but you know, noise. Lots of noise, lots of messages, lots of talking, lots of communication, lots of receiving, a lot. There's going to be a lot. Lots and lots coming through from the 19th to the 20th. So the 21st to the 23rd, this is kind of like, okay, well, this is the secret power of what I'm really working through over the previous couple of days when the moon was in Libra and all the shifts between the 19th and the 20th were happening. Here's the arcane secrets of it. Here's the power of it. Here's how I protect it also. So if you're being offered any like positions of power, through the 19th and the 20th, protection tips or protection energy. Also, you could see kind of like, maybe there's some people around me who don't need to know about this. Maybe there's some people around me I gotta guard these secrets from. I don't know how that works for you, but there could be messages of guardianship and secrecy that come through the 21st through the 23rd with the moon in Scorpio. This is also a time where there's lots of grounding. Lots of time of grounding. Mars is retrograde, also ruling over that Scorpio. It's a time to force your will if you're ready. This is like a moment where the moon is still. The energy is still. We've had all of these things shift up, pick up. We're about to have even more change come through next week. So this is recently, and I do not remember what episode this is in. I tried to find it in the notes for previous episodes, but if you've been listening for a while, then hopefully you remember it. I said recently that there's a hold steady. It was like in the previous month and a half. Like, if you're getting ready, hold steady. If you're getting ready, hold steady. If you feel ready, hold steady. That's kind of like the end of December, beginning of January. If you're getting ready, hold steady. You feel ready, hold steady. This moon is go time. You've been ready, you've been holding steady, now's the time to really work in it. Now's the time to walk in it. Now's the time to talk in it. I don't know what it is for you, but now's the time, that 21st through the 23rd moon. Do what you're asking yourself to do. This is a time to, I put start, march, grind, hustle, heal, begin, create, and win. Now. Not win, it's now. It's now. It's not a question of timing anymore. It's a question of how are you going to walk and are you sure? So do what you're asking yourself to. And then for the entire season, so we have this entire season of Aquarius, follow through. Make sure that if you're doing and you're creating, because we're about to have Saturn enter Aries this year. Saturn in Aries is a lot of spark energy. Doesn't always have a follow through though. And because Saturn is headed directly into Aries, we may not be there yet, okay? But if you're someone like me who can feel a lot of the indirect energies, you might be feeling this. If not, then just disregard it. But you have those primal starts, you got to follow through with it. So important for the following through. This season is going to set important ground rules and foundations for this summer when Pluto retrogrades. Now, I don't know if I said this or where I did, because it feels like I might have. I think I said it no, that's true. I said it in the special episode of Astrology 2025. I was talking about Pluto retrograde. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is going to be kind of like our final closing note for the show for this week. Pluto retrogrades, there's a lot of different ways you can work with them. One, they're binding. So anything done in a retrograde, you're going to have to come back to. Doesn't matter what it is, who it's with, whatever. You do it in a retrograde, you're going to return to it. Retrogrades also ask that we return to other things that have been done. Because of that, they can be times of harvest, what's been done when the planet is direct. Okay, time to harvest, time to reconsider, time to restructure maybe a little bit. With that in mind, okay, the harvest, the grounding, the binding that retrogrades offer to us. I mentioned over the previous several months, because I did a reading, and I know I've been talking about this reading kind of here and there in my episodes, so hang in there with me. We're going to get to a point, and I know that I've been repeating myself, so thanks for listening. There's a reading I did, Pluto in Aquarius. It was the day before Pluto went into Aquarius, and I just wanted to sit and read the collective energies and kind of see if we needed to see anything about what was up and coming. One of the things that was in that reading is that there's something bouncing around up in the sky. It's bouncing around, and it's going to come to ground. It has to make some decisions first. It has to be kind of created before it comes to the earth, before it comes and lands and grounds. It's already on the earth. It just needs to be more in the creative energy. You know, we have some time to pass till we get there. And one of the things in that reading that was pronounced is that when it grounds, it's going to ground real strong. It's going to ground real strong. And in the 2025 Part 1 Astrology episode, the special edition episode in the previous week that I sent out, that episode, interesting, that Pluto retrograde, so I talk about it in that episode a little bit more, and I don't actually remember exactly what I said. I just remember that I mentioned it and talked about it a little bit. This Pluto in a retrograde in Aquarius, when does it start? Let me get you a date. Hold on. Starts on May 4th. Okay, that retrograde starts on May 4th. That's when the stuff that's been floating around starts to come to the ground. Schmack. Schmack. It's not an attack schmack. Not an attack. Just like, oh, holy cow, that's what I've been doing? Oh, holy cow, that's what I've been creating? Oh, okay. Oh, holy cow, that's what I've been creating. And now it's here? Oh, holy cow, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing? That's what I've been doing. Oh, that's what I've been doing? That's what I've been doing? That's what I've been doing? That is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That I can't even believe it. That's going to be the Pluto retrograde that happens in the summer, okay? But what you do in this Aquarius season is setting up the illuminated foundations for that grounding work. So you might not make sense of it now. You might not have the picture now. You might not have the clarity. You're not supposed to, remember? You're not supposed to be able to predict everything. Thank goodness. I don't want it. Take it. It's not my power. Take it for wherever it's supposed to go, but it's not for me. It's not for me. When Pluto retrogrades this summer, this Aquarius season... oh, golly, what were you doing? What were you really doing? Because Aquarius energy it's creative, but it doesn't play. It's still serious. We still got Saturn involved. Not a problem to be solved. Just we got Saturn involved. So this Aquarius season prepares us for some really great groundings this summer. And if you really put the work in, I don't know what the work is for you, and it's going to be so different depending on who you are and what you want and your placements and your chart. It's going to be so different with your circumstance that you're in. It's going to be so different. Everybody, it's going to be so different. It's going to be so different. It's going to be so different. And this reminds me too, one of the things, another personal thing that Spirit has been telling me recently, started telling me around December time. It was mid-December. Spirit started telling me, give it 6 months, you're not going to recognize yourself. 6 months? 6 months? You got six months. That's not a lot of time to not recognize myself. Okay, interesting. But that gets us to that time period, Pluto retrograding and things coming to ground again. So get yourself have fun, but also prepare through preparation in this sense of the word, preparation through creation. Create what you really want to create. Because by the time that Pluto retrogrades this summer, it's what have you been creating? Here's the bigger culminated offering and picture. Your creative energy is with Pluto and Aquarius. When you sit and you create, that's an offering to creation itself. So of course creation is going to bring you an offering in return. Doesn't that make sense? That's the law of reciprocity. That's reciprocal. That's an offering, the ring of an offer. You sit and create, what you do will then be returned to you. Shout out Pluto retrograde coming through. So really pay attention for yourself, because we got a lot of stuff that is shifting and a gifting, and we've been setting up the foundation since Pluto went into Aquarius, but this season is gonna be oh, I get it now. Oh, I see it now. Oh, I think I actually got it. I think I actually got it. Hey guys, I think I got it. I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it. I think I got it. That's gonna be probably the entire season. No, I think I got it. Let me just go do it. I think I got it. Let me go brew it. Oh no, I think I got it actually. Yeah, keep your spirits lifted. Keep your spirits elevated. I think I got it. Let me just go try. Let me just go see. Let me just see if I can do it. I think I got it. I think I got it. Why not? I think I got it. Let me go do it. Let me go live my life. I think I got it. Beautiful. So that's what I'll leave with you. Interesting. It's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be kind of chaotic. It's going to be a lot coming through. So do what you need to do. Keep up your brew. I will too. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Also too, a little update at the end, in case you were wondering. If not though, I'll talk to you next time. But in case you were wondering, my sessions wrap up here in the next couple of weeks, and when that happens, I will be taking a little bit of a turn into creating more content on the internet spaces. My creative energies are taking a shift, taking a shift. I'm offering a little bit more of a gift in the collective energies and spaces. So one of the things I found that is really helpful for me, because people keep asking about classes and courses, and if I have those for astrology. If you are interested in learning something specific, if you are following me on YouTube, if you leave comments, I have not had the time to get back to a lot of comments recently. Thanks so much for being here and for the support. Also, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I really, truly have not had the time. And hopefully soon I will. Okay. And also, if you leave me comments, it helps me to understand kind of what direction people are moving in, grooving in, what do people want to know about. And I want to take kind of a little bit more of interactive. I don't know how that's going to change as the page grows and more people kind of show up to that space, but I do want to take a little bit more of an interactive kind of perspective with it. So if you have any questions, I'd love to start making videos based on kind of like what it is that you want to know and what it is that you're interested in. So again, that's going to be more for the YouTube space. I'm looking forward to it. So just a little bit of like an extra tidbit or an update, but I'll let you go for now. That's we'll be done. This is a lot of information. It's gonna be an interesting week. And I'll talk to you soon. That is true.